What's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, we have a ton to get into in today's video. There's just a lot that's happening with the TGS. In the previous videos, we've already seen that there's a ton of brand new characters that's going to be coming into the game. We get into one of them in today's video, but there's also a ton of different things that's happening as far as the marketing. And there's even some things that have happened for the official Discord that I want to kind of shine some light on and talk about, right? Because again, this is you guys' central place for news. So we're getting into that, all right? So first things first, let's talk about the evil shadow Asura Rahu, right? Now, this is another SSR character. If you aren't familiar with the rarities in the game, there's like, your rares, I think you have commons or normals. You have your rares, you have your SRs, and you have your SSRs, right? Now, this is another top tier or top rarity character that's going to be coming into the game, and it's a fairly new one. We have not seen this character at all. Now, the name of the character is Rahu, but the title of this character is Shadow Shura, which is really, I think, translation for Asura. So it's the Shadow Asura. And then the faction is from the Wandering Street. Now, the thing that's kind of interesting about this character, and I want to show you guys the full body, okay? This dude got a flaming familiar, like devil skull with an axe and all this stuff. And this is something that to me is so sick, okay? Now, the thing about this is that it's kind of screaming, some of that Mega Man vibe. Like if you guys remember like Mega from like Star Force, for example, kind of how the familiars kind of, are in the back. One thing that I really do like with this game is that they really are tapping into the whole familiar idea, which has been years since I've seen a game really pushing that, at least in mobile. You have some of your more predominant ones like, Persona, which I think that's also where we're seeing some influence from. I think that a lot of people typically will throw in like, oh, Hoyo with Honkai Star Rail. Dude, this game was actually in development the exact same time as Honkai Star Rail. Before Honkai Star Rail actually released, they just decided to push this game back more and more and more, which I think was actually a fairly smart decision. There was a lot of things that they wanted to work out. And of course, one of the big elements that I've seen that a lot of people have actually been asking about is their PvE and or PvP. It is both. And so the way that they are trying to just basically, I would say, make this game is they're really trying to make it balanced, where there's fun PvE, but there's also fun PvP that allows you to, yes, if you have the dupes, you can take advantage of this version or variant of PvP in this mode, but there's also going to be a PvP mode that matters where no dupes matter, right? It's just all about the strategy and how your units operate. And I will say a lot of the units in this game come with a lot. I mean, like, I'm talking about stun, defense break, attack down, and like AoE damage or something like that. Like, these units come stacked. So it's just really, really cool because then with the pet system that this game has, there's just so much that kind of comes into the value of these characters. But nonetheless, Rahu looks insane. I just got to say, like, so far, a lot of the characters have all, like, I felt like it overall looked cool. But this character, it just does something special. And especially if you guys are coming from Dislike, he's definitely giving me kind of like the I'll say Izanagi vibes for sure. Yeah, definitely kind of giving me that vibe. So I'm just kind of like, okay, they're definitely tapping into some unique looking characters. I feel like that fit their universe. And when you actually play the game for yourselves, you guys will kind of see how these units just kind of work to each faction as well. So I just think it's a really, really cool concept and, just really nice to see how they're constructing everything. Now, of course, with that, they have a couple of different things that kind of give us an idea about this character. So this is basically a mystery person active in the Eltrus runs, and he runs an antique shop called Sora. He's currently the most popular information dealer in the EO7 district. So if we're to give any type of correlation, he's basically like the Tricky of this game, I guess, if you want to say, right? And then he basically believes the principle of equivalent exchange. So their faction kind of reminds me of the basically of the bounty hunters in Dislike, right? Like they're just very much so like whoever is willing to pay, and as long as things are done in a way where there's a equal exchange, hey, it's fair game for everybody, right? So it is said that every guest who enters Coup pays the price when leaving. So We don't know what that means, but we're gonna probably find out. Now, so he always smiles and gives people the impression of being warm and hospitable, but in fact, no one knows what tricks he is plotting behind the scenes. And this is, like I said, the same vibe that I get from like Loki or Tricky and Dislike, which I think is always cool to have like a character that you kind of can't guess what they're gonna do, because this is definitely something that is gonna be one of those characters you're always just like, hey, are they gonna be on our side this time or not? Now, the voice line it looks like this character has is, are you a hyperlinker? I've heard of you for a long time. Me? I'm just an ordinary antique shop owner. I'm sure you'll have many opportunities to use me in the future. So this just seems kind of shady. Like, he's a shady looking character, but a cool looking character, which is like really, really sick to see, right? So yeah, they did a really, really good job with this character. So I guess they're going to be dropping characters as we go. We're going to be taking first looks at these characters, as we go as well, kind of dissecting them, diving deep into, the character, how they look, what they might, potentially do. So hopefully we get some character kit stuff as well. Now, of course, I got to mix in some of that TGS love. There's actually quite a bit going on. So they're obviously showcasing some of the things. As far as like the trailer, they're talking about some of the things with this beta test, and just how this is going to be, again, not a direct correlation to the final presentation of the game, but they're using that word quite a bit, which I think is really, really nice, because that means that we are getting to that point where we're going to actually be able to all get our hands on the game. They're talking about the supported versions of the game. This final CBT I think is actually really, really important, because they're testing, PC, Windows, Android with Google Play, iOS with Test Flight. So this is going to allow everybody to be able to see how they operate on each platform. And I'm hoping that then with that, they'll be able to have like any sort of controller support. Is it necessary to have the controller support? Not really, not for mobile. But it's just one of those extra things that they do have if you do decide that you want to use that, right? So of course, with that, they tie everything in where they're starting to now get a little bit more into some of the character kits. Now, I was kind of waiting on this. I wanted to make some videos on character kits, because I actually know almost every single character's kit at this point. But but either way, I kind of wanted to wait, just because, again, it's a lot of things that are subject to change when it comes down to like these testings. And again, there's still some things that could get changed, right? But they are starting to kind of go through the process of classifying characters. I think if anything, they'll probably do some balances, but I don't foresee characters getting completely changed unless they are doing something that's just too extremely scaled still, right? So they're kind of getting into some of the starter characters that you'll be able to have access to. Now, I think the first SSR we will all be getting will actually be Leon, if I'm not mistaken, according to how they at least ran the last test. She's basically a tank, right? So the crazy thing, though, is that like this game has a very similar element like Dislike, where a character isn't just like classified as their select role and that's all they do. Yes, she can take an obscene amount of damage, but she can also deal some pretty disgusting damage. Now, she also has, of course, the ability to do some extra things. I think she has like a DOT in her kit. She has some AoEs. So she definitely is a really, really strong nuker still, which again, that's kind of nice to see that a tank isn't just like your typical, tank, but they're offering more utility. And this is something that's really good for things like PvP when you're trying to create strategies and even different team compositions. So, they kind of show us like her animation for her ultimate, which is really sick. But again, we're going to be getting more into character kits as we get into the, closer to after probably or during the beta. And I have some tier lists and things of that nature for you guys, like for re-rolling and things of that nature. Now, Gray, they did do a couple of different revamps on his design. This, I guess, is the design that they are sticking with, which is really cool, right? So he is the Thunderbolt character. He's the SR rarity. He's definitely a very, very, very powerful unit. He has a lot of utility, I would say. I know that he is able to give I think it was like a defense buff or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But he also has some pretty strong single target nuking, as well as some AoE abilities that he has. So just because a character is rated a certain way doesn't mean they actually don't do anything. And so that's kind of one of the things too. I think he has like an electrocution proc as well within his kit. So he does have his own unique mechanic, but his animations are also like really, really sick too. Now, another unit that we're going to get for free as one of the starters is Dolores. Now, Dolores is like your typical support, able to buff buff, protect, heal, etc. Right? Some of those standard traditional things. This is, of course, another SR unit, but another very good one. I actually used this unit for quite a bit and was able to get through like a ton of stuff with this unit just to kind of see if freebie units were, viable. They seem to be, so I'm hoping that in this upcoming test they will still continue to be, right? And then, of course, one of the last characters that they go to show here is going to be Chachi, right? So this is another unit that I think, honestly, for me at the time, I really wasn't too keen on using the character. I know this unit, I think, does have the ability to stun, so there is that. So you do have like some controlling with this character, but it wasn't a character I was like super gung-ho for, but it is a rare character that does work, right? Like there was tons of people that were still using this character to get through the game. It is able to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it can give I think it was like some sort of like meter push ability. So yeah, there's a lot of different values that you're going to see from some of these characters. Again, some of these things are going to be subject to change, so we'll have to kind of wait to see like, okay, what's going to stay and what's not. But all in all, it's just kind of cool to see that they're actually starting to kind of get more into like pushing the characters more. They're starting to really advertise the game. Now, the last thing I actually want to cover in this video, which I actually felt was really, really important to mention, right? The official Discord is active again, right? So they're starting to, get back into fixing up the Discord. Now, I'm actually going to probably end up being a moderator of some sort in that Discord at some point. So yes, guys, if you have not joined the Discord, make sure you do, because there's definitely a lot more activity going on in there. They actually have the staff now starting to separate themselves. So they're starting to categorize things, right? They actually, and I would even say for some of us, what was the big telltale was that this like Discord's been sitting for about almost 2 years now, right? And they went and they changed the Discord profile picture. I was like, oh, it's something happening, right? So that was just already like a funny thing. So we now have that kind of happening. So we know that this is the English Discord, right? Like this isn't the TW, this isn't the, CN or KR or JP. This is the English Discord. So we're going to start seeing some stuff probably start rolling out. Once again, keep in mind, they have a Twitter page. They just haven't uploaded on it, right? In a very, very long time. So we're going to probably start seeing some posts start going up on that as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that we're going to see that we're going to be able to get into. But again, I want to just kind of keep you guys up to date on what's happening. I will lastly show you guys some of the things that they actually had from TGS. The devs actually did send me these just personally, just so I knew and, just able to kind of see what they had going on. But they did throw up some more pictures. I don't know if this is the one. Hold on. Let me actually go back. I know there's one where they actually threw up some more pictures. Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so they actually are showcasing everything, right? So they got players actually experiencing the game, getting into, everything that the game has to offer, which I think is, again, like just the coolest thing to see is that they're really starting to get those gears turning. People are really starting to get active in the game. You can kind of see here, the game looks good, dude. It looks so freaking good, right? Even in some of the like things that they're giving away, you can see like they have all of like the flashy kind of collectible stuff being done. We're seeing that like, they have the pins, they have these bookmarks, I think. I don't know if they're like bookmarks or cards, but they got all this stuff. So they got a lot of merch that they're working on. They got more pictures of even some of the cosplayers. And these are like different pictures of them. But yeah, so they're starting to kind of get that ball going, which I think is super, super cool to see, man. So yeah, we got a ton more to get into in the near future, guys. I hope that this was a somewhat enlightening video. This is day 3 for the TGS as well. So again, let me know how you guys feel in the comment section down below. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.